People deluded. Now, good morning to you on this early Sunday morning. I hope you're all well and praise the Lord for another day, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Now, it's a shame that I have to make a video about this, but I've made a point of this when it comes to racism. A lot of football things, that a lot of more happier topics, but when it comes to racism, it needs to be spoken about. We can't consistently just forget about it. And yeah, man, I know you all watched Manchester City versus Chelsea. Credit to Chelsea for the way they played and things like that. And man to a man, every Chelsea player played well on the large part. Nobody expected them to win. Credit where due. They kept a clean sheet against a free-scoring Manchester City side, and they inflicted defeat on us, the City side that looked invincible. But all of that is irrelevant now. That is what should be spoken about. All of that is irrelevant is because I know you've all seen the footage emerging with Raheem Sterling being called, and I won't pull any punches, being called a black cunt, blatantly being called a black cunt by a Chelsea fan. Now, not all Chelsea fans are racist. It's always I hate when these things happen. Whether it's the banana thing with the Spurs fan who's come out and got an interview and said he's not racist. I mean, when it comes to racism nowadays, it's far more. It seems there's far more concern for the person that's been accused to do damage limitation PR exercises and say they're not racist. But I don't like to see when there's one idiot of one club, you can't pick a whole fan base, because there's racist Arsenal fans, there's racist Spurs fans, there's racist Chelsea fans, there's racist everybody and everyone with all sorts of skin colours, whether they support a team or not. You all saw him call Raheem Sterling a black cunt, and it's sad. Firstly, it's Raheem Sterling's birthday. Commiserations, because they didn't win the match. It would have been a perfect birthday. But I mean, he's 24 years of age. He's earned a lot of money. He's played a lot of games in the Premier League. He's won the Premier League. And his birthday is a celebration of his life, and just to allow him to really feel blessed and how privileged of positions he's in. And it's a game of football. So for him to be called a black cunt, it really upset me. It upset everybody. Now, the fool who did it, I'm not gonna lie to you people. If anybody sees him, I hope he gets eggs and flowers thrown at him. I actually hope he gets banged in his face, because it's only with football and certain other incidences where we see certain political parties marching is where people get the confidence to do these sort of things. He wouldn't do it on the. In fact, he probably would do it on the street, but the difference is he would have got a right hook, a left hook, and kicked up. People saying, well, why didn't Raheem Sterling react? Now, he could have reacted. He could have banged him in his face if he heard it. He could have punched his nose and sparked him out. That would have been justified. But we know what would have happened. They would have come down harder on Raheem Sterling than they would of any person that's been accused of racist or someone that's been abusive. He would have probably got sent off. He would have got a ban. So who would have won, really and truly? A damned if you do, damned if you don't. Now, with that logic, you probably, I must admit, people, I'm a bit different, because I would have lost it and still banged him. But when you consider what happened to Scott Sinclair, and I know many of you probably don't even know if you saw him miss the penalty for Celtic when they played Aberdeen, and again he's called a black cunt. Now, many people say, oh, it's not racist, they're just angry he's black and he's a cunt. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? Man, be racist with your chest. You're racist, hold it up. And this is just another thing. When people try and call these things out, you're told you have a chip on your shoulder. Yeah, you and the rest of you have a chip on your shoulder. You're playing the race card. He didn't mean it. It's not like that. Why? And then what do you hear? If it's so bad, why don't you go back home? But this is the long list of racial incidents in society and in football. I mean, if not to go off topic, but if you look at society, it's 2018 and young black kids are being excluded from school because they've got afros, because they've got dreadlocks, because they've got natural hair that is texturized to their skin. So society has never been more racist than it is now. In fact, let me not lie, that is true and false. I say it's true because let's be honest, racism has never gone. All you got to do is speak to people or your parents' generation, speak about the Teddy Boys and all these sort of things. Obviously, it's changed from how it was when people with the Windrush, in the sense that things aren't saying no dogs, no Irish, no niggers anymore, but essentially it's just as bad. I mean, race 2017, 2018, with the Brexit, with the far right in many, specific to many European countries. Obviously, if you look across the pond at America, race has never been more important. Race has never been at the forefront, and I must admit, it is rich white individuals. It's a class war. It's rich white individuals pitting other white people, especially in America, who have been subjected to a lot of just been blocked opportunities, and then they're shifting that rich person is then telling the ear of the poor person that it's the result of another race. And like you saw with Brexit, it is not an immigrant's issue as to why you cannot find a job if you live in Stoke and things like that. There's several economic factors that the government haven't put in place, or a lack of innovation in certain industries. It is ridiculous that we're dealing with racism in 2018. To go back to this football stuff, I mean, in recent weeks, we've seen the Obama and the banana. We've seen Scott Sinclair, like I said with you lot, and he was, for what it's worth, the Aberdeen fan who did, or whoever it was that did abuse Scott Sinclair, was condemned. And now you obviously got someone blatantly calling Thingy a black cunt. Sterling, nothing is going to happen to my man at best. What are you going to see? You're going to see he's banned for life from a stadium. He might get a little fine. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing essentially is going to happen to him, and this is it. The only justice you can hope is that someone I must admit, people, I haven't got a heart for people like this. I genuinely wish the worst happens to him. I genuinely wish he gets punched in the street and something happens to him. Like, God forgive me, but if you hold so much racist contempt in your heart for your fellow man, whether you're white, black, or the other, it upsets me. I say this time and time again. We know we're all the same. We know we're all the same. I have more pigment in my skin than a white man, but doesn't make me any less or any better than him. What makes you less or any worse than anyone is your principles, what you stand for, your morals, your actions. Many people, racists, don't understand this, and in fact they do understand this, they don't want to admit it. This is why I always say educating racists and all these sort of things, it's a waste of time. Do you not think a racist person in 2018 who has access to the internet, and they're actually not that stupid, do you not think they know that they're equal with black people or someone of another ethnic minority class? That's the very thing they don't want to. They don't want to feel equal with someone black. Think about it. If I'm a racist person, I'm obviously not all white people are racist, but on the topic of it's clearly a white man with the Sterling thing, let's just say I'm that racist white man that called Sterling a black cunt. Now, Raheem Sterling might have similar interests as me. He might be as articulate as me. I might see that he's different through having a conversation with him. But my own racist ideology, which is essentially a disease, won't allow me to admit that I'm equal with him. I want to feel better, and to a degree, it's not understandable. But in life, with humans, in all aspects, we all want to feel better. Subconsciously, unconsciously, we all want to feel better than someone at something. That's a fact. It's sad because Chelsea, what should be the headlines is that Sarri, who's never beaten Pep Guardiola before, masterminded it. Whether the Hazard false nine worked or not, he got an assist. Kante scored. They kept a clean sheet against the champions, who were still going to win the league, but it's a good 3 points. These are David Luiz, someone who's been comical of weeks, had a great game. These are the headlines that should be wrote. But like you saw with the Sterling incident, and I feel it for Raheem Sterling. I've said it before. The man, I dread to think when the time comes and he thinks, let me write a book towards the end of his career, the amount of stuff he's going to have to, both with the media, when you look at just Raheem Sterling's, I mean, the man could brush his teeth and people say Raheem Sterling brushes his teeth. He's had to deal with that. The racial incidences. I mean, it's ironic because he was in the Ian Wright documentary speaking about how being racially abused, and it's happened again. I mean, yeah, you could say people, it's spur of the moment and things like that. He didn't mean it. Of course he did. When I'm at a football match and people do things, do you think I ever think to call someone a black this, or white this, Asian this, and Asian that? You be racist with your chest. You're racist. And what annoys me in society as well is that you're probably going to see this Chelsea fan given a platform to explain his actions, like you saw with my man that cowardly abused an old lady on the plane, or you look at the Aubameyang thing. I mean, nothing is going to happen. At worst, you can hope for it. To my fellow people who stand for justice, all I can say is if you catch any of these people and there's no cameras and things, do what... Apologies, people. Apologies. I don't know why my TV started playing, but yeah, if you catch them, do what it make it do what you do, man. I don't got to talk too tough. That's the only way. Like, I take my hat off to Sterling, because if I was Sterling, I would try and bang the man, but that wouldn't be the sensible thing to do, and you probably wouldn't. And to a degree, as much as it burns me, as much as I want him to get duppied, and I wish the worst on my man for using such a derogatory language, a part of me feels he would have won if I did react like that. So footballers are in a difficult situation, man, because nobody will ever understand how degrading it makes you feel. Like, when you see this happening, and we've come a long way. Yes, we've come a long way in the sense I said with society, no cats, no dogs, no niggas. Yes, people that are my parents' generation and just above me, they will remember the Teddy Boys and racist areas like Southgate and things like that. I'm sure, and the Boardwalk Farm riots and all of these sort of things in the 70s, 80s, and all of these things. Yes, a lot of them have been pushed to the back burner, but history repeats itself. Like I said, race has never played more of an important part in society than it is now, and it's sad. It's sad to see. It is sad to see, and it's even more sad to see that towards the end we're seeing a lot of these racial incidences, but clubs don't speak on it. Newspaper outlets whisper it, and you'll see it come on at 10 o'clock on a weekday when nobody's really watching the news, or at certain other news segments when people are not looking. And I must admit as well, on a general basis, in regards to racism, in regards to discrimination, and in regards to probably ethnic minorities, I'm going off topic here, but ethnic minorities not being in certain in certain positions, or being able to elevate into certain positions, you actually have to actually be a lot of blame to certain other black individuals, because I've been at a lot of events and stuff like that, and I get it, but there's a lot of black individuals, specifically in football, they get into positions and they're scared to speak out because they might lose their role. Now I get it, you don't want to lose your role. At the end of the day, you need to pay your bills, but things aren't going to change if you be selfish. Essentially, yes, you could say it's easy for me and not in a position to sit here and say that, but you're just as bad as the oppressors. Essentially, all I can say is, Raheem Sterling, keep doing your bits, man. I mean, black skin is beautiful. Black men and black women are beautiful. Like, there's nothing we can do in it. People can hate, but they can't stop us, man. We're too strong for all of them thing there. And probably, if we look at it, that racist who called Sterling this language, I mean, probably while he was at the game, his woman, his wife, his lady was probably enjoying, the darker tone. That's probably why he's like that. You know how it is. You know what they say, once you go black, you never go back, and them things there. So, Raheem Sterling, keep doing your stuff, man. I mean, incidences like this, it's never going to fill me with joy, and it's always going to be upsetting, but black men keep winning, racist idiots keep losing. I mean, Raheem Sterling's a Premier League winner. At the end of the day, he's earning a lot of money. He's put his family on. He's he's built a life for himself. He's going to have a great life for his family and possibly his kids, and develop financial freedom, experience life that a lot of these racist people that are burning, and it's envy. But no matter how much they hate on him, they can't stop him, man. And it is what it is, man. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. And I will say this as well. I have to give a massive shout out to players, fans, individuals who are not black, but equally shouting this out, because that's what we need. It's all fun and dandy, black people or ethnic minorities highlighting this, but it falls on the sword. And I must admit, if I have to poke any criticisms, I do say when racism is brought up or topics are brought up, people need to be prepared to hear hard language. People don't want you to say nigger or black cunt or languages that's being used. People don't want to see gruesome images. People like, especially in British society, we like to hide. We like to pretend. Specifically, we like to pretend everything is great, everything is rosy, everything's been great, and it's not. It's not. And it is what it is, man. I mean, I get racial. I've been racially abused in real life, and I took it a certain different way. And I get racially abused in my YouTube comments all the time. But like I said with Raheem Sterling, the man who abused the wife of the man who abused Sterling, is probably playing away from him. And the same way, these people that get in my comments and say this racial abuse, I mean, it's not my fault if they're women or they're feeling DG's babyface killer, man. What can I say? I'm fucking sexy in that. But yeah, man, Scott Sinclair, Raheem Sterling, Aubameyang, anyone else who's been racially abused that I'm not aware of, just stay strong, man. There's nothing we can do. The only people that can help us is ourselves, and how we help us, I don't specifically know. Part of me thinks the only way that happens is black people own football clubs, essentially, because that's the only way that if a black person owns a football club, they're more likely to help with discrimination and employ black people into chairman positions and little positions of power such as that. If they're in positions of power such as that, they can then possibly be at your way from group meetings and all them, like you see what you previously saw of Ivan Gazidis, like you typically see at them UEFA meetings that influence a lot of decisions within world football. If there's black people within that, then we can be able to possibly go harder on racists or punish racism better beyond a closed stadium for a stadium that's already closed. Clubs that make millions of pounds, a 20,000 20-bag fine. I can't even recall an incident a player's been suspended. But we live in a day and age. In the last 2 years, I've heard everything I've said in this vid. I've heard black players can't concentrate. I've heard black players are not good for leadership roles. I've heard all sorts of nonsense specific in football. And football mirrors society. So these are a lot of views reflected in society. There's a lot of good in society, of course, but never underestimate the progress and the work needing to be done, because what do you know, no doubt here when you call these things out, playing the race card. Not everything is racist. You got a chip on your shoulder, go back home. Then I mean, I was born here, burgundy passport, and that I'm of Caribbean descent, but what do you hear, go back home. Yeah, that reminds me. There was one incident a couple of New Years ago. I was with my friends, and there was an ignorant man, and he actually said, go back to Africa." And I actually replied, "I'll go back to Africa when you come out of South Africa," just to highlight his idiocy. And he really just looked clueless. And I must admit, people, I'm proud of myself, because I tried to, rather than, we decided to be witty against him and use witty language and stuff like that to rile him. If that was another day, he was obviously drunk. If that was another day or another site, I'm not a tough lad and all of them things, but one thing I'm not taking is disrespect from anybody. And if that was I can't lie, if it was on the back road, then I'm happy. What happened? I'm trying to put my hand through the back of his throat, essentially, make it go to the other side, because nothing angers me more than racism. Like, if someone called me a nigger in my face, whether they're bigger than me and they can beat me up, I promised myself I'm going out on my knees. Like, you have to beat me to a pulp, because I'm trying to murder you. I can't even lie. Pardon my language. There's nothing can I can't put into words how much that word, imagine being just imagine being called that, people. Like, it really rattles you. And yeah, man, it doesn't matter if it's nigger, black, cunt. It doesn't matter if it's the undertones, the stereotypes, the smart little media language they use when it comes to players earning money. I mean, it's only black players that can earn that have multi-million contracts, and they're not allowed to or expected to spend any of them finances. I mean, they want every player to behave like Kante. Now, nothing is wrong with Kante. He obviously spends his wealth on expensive clothes, but they don't necessarily look at it. And the humble image Kante has, or appears to have. There's nothing wrong with that. But why I use Kante as an example, because he's humble. You don't hear him bragging. Do you know how tough it is to just be yourself, let alone be black and wavy? Look at Muhammad Ali is my biggest sporting idol, purely because he was fearless. Do you know how hard it was to be black in them societies, in his society? Be a black boxer, let alone be a black boxer, know you're black, embrace your black, and have all that talent and be wavy. Like, do you know how hard them sort of things are? They like people to act like Kante. Look at the minute Aubameyang touched into Arsenal, people were writing articles on his Ferrari. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you're not acting like Kante, it's ridiculous. You're not allowed to cut your hair. You're not allowed to get haircuts. You're not allowed to do handshakes. You're not allowed to do several things. But we're going off topic. All I can do is say, Raheem Sterling, keep your head up, man. The only benefit is that you're still earning money. You're still a Premier League footballer, and you're still black and wavy. And this guy is just allowing hate to kill him. Racism is a disease. When you hold so much envy and them things in your body, it plays on your psychological, mental being, and it also plays on your physical being. He's unwell. Racism is an illness. Anyone who is racist is a fucking idiot. Like me personally, I don't discriminate. If someone is white, black, or someone else, I'm going to judge a white man, a black man, an Asian man, or whatever, a woman as well, equally on their principles, what they stand for, what they're this and that. Now, if that black guy happens to just be a twat, then he's a cunt. If that white person happens to be a twat, then he's a cunt. If that Asian person happens to be a twat, then he's a twat. But that they have to give reasons, of all races. They have to give reasons. You judge a man or a woman on their principles, what they stand for, the sort of company they keep, their actions, least of all the colour of their skin. They can't control that. In the same way they couldn't control that. Well, you have more control over your name than you do the colour of your skin. Well, in today's day and age, I'm seeing a lot of people bleaching, and I'm seeing a lot of people do surgery to darken their skin. So does that really make sense? I'm not too sure. And with society, you can change to just about anything. You can go outside and identify as a flying goldfish for all you want and get surgery to look like that. But you get the point, man. Raheem Sterling, hold your head, man. To all my black people out there, keep strong, keep going, man. They can't break us. Racism cannot break us. We've been through a lot, still a lot of work to go, man. And I don't have all the answers. I don't know how racism in football stops. It, like society, it's ingrained. It can never stop. But something needs to be done, bar the routinely minimal fines and stadium bans and and all the, you know, all the groups that do great work in regards to tackling racism, but year after year, people, I say this because I go to these same events as well. I sit in the same spot, hear the same words, see the same progression talks, see the same statistics in regards to racism, and yet nothing's done. So I don't have all the answers, but I have to wonder, how does it not get boring sitting in the same seat year on year and nothing really happening other than feel good speeches and stuff like that. But it is what it is on this note, man. People deluded. Sadly, it's a rather sad vid, but comment, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish. I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, people. Stay blessed.